A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a significant turn of events, the anticipated summit between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin has been called off, raising questions about the future of diplomatic relations and the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. The meeting, which was set to take place in Budapest, Hungary, was scrapped due to perceived insurmountable differences between the two nations regarding a ceasefire in Ukraine. President Trump, speaking at the White House, expressed his reluctance to engage in what he termed a wasted meeting with Putin, emphasizing that preparatory talks revealed a substantial gap in the negotiating positions of the U.S. and Russia. "I don't want to have a waste of time, so we'll see what happens," Trump stated, underscoring the complexities of the current geopolitical landscape. The cancellation follows a phone conversation between Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, during which Lavrov reiterated that Russia's stance on negotiations remains unchanged since their last meeting in Alaska, which failed to produce any meaningful results. A White House official confirmed that there are currently no plans for a presidential summit in the immediate future, further complicating prospects for dialogue. European leaders have been vocal in their calls for an immediate ceasefire based on the current battle lines. Yet President Putin has remained steadfast in his demands, insisting that Ukraine must cede the entirety of the Donbass region. This insistence has led to a stalemate, with no clear path forward for diplomatic resolution. In the meantime, the conflict continues to escalate on the ground. Recent reports indicate that both Ukraine and Russia have engaged in a series of retaliatory strikes targeting each other's logistics and energy infrastructure. Ukraine has launched attacks on Russian facilities in Bryansk and Smolensk, aiming to disrupt supply lines critical to the Kremlin's military operations. In a tragic turn, 2 civilians were killed in Kyiv as Russian forces targeted the capital with drone and missile strikes. As winter approaches, the situation remains dire, with Russian attacks focusing on energy infrastructure across Ukraine, exacerbating the humanitarian crisis. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is set to visit Sweden to discuss a significant export deal as the nation seeks to bolster its defenses amid ongoing aggression. In a notable escalation, Ukraine successfully struck a key Russian chemical plant using British-made Storm Shadow missiles, a move that the Ukrainian military described as critical to undermining Russia's war efforts. This attack highlights the increasing sophistication and intensity of Ukraine's military response as it seeks to counter Russian advances. The choice of Budapest as a potential summit location was fraught with symbolic significance, given its historical context. It was here in 1994 that Russia pledged not to invade Ukraine in exchange for the latter's relinquishment of nuclear weapons. The irony of a Trump-Putin meeting in a city that once symbolized a commitment to Ukraine's territorial integrity has not gone unnoticed, with critics arguing that it reflects a betrayal of those assurances. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán, however, remains optimistic about the possibility of future discussions, stating that preparations for the peace summit are ongoing, although the date remains uncertain. This optimism contrasts sharply with the realities on the ground, where civilian casualties continue to mount as both sides engage in increasingly aggressive military operations. In light of the cancellation, many observers are left wondering what the future holds for U.S.-Russia relations and the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. The failure to secure a summit has raised concerns about the potential for further escalation, as both nations appear to be digging in their heels. As the world watches closely, the hope for a diplomatic resolution seems to be fading, with both leaders seemingly unwilling to compromise. The situation remains fluid, and the international community continues to call for immediate action to halt the violence and seek a peaceful resolution to the conflict. With winter looming and the humanitarian crisis deepening, the stakes have never been higher for the people of Ukraine and the broader geopolitical landscape. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.